What's going on, guys? Kigerr here, and in today's video I'm joined by LordsOfGaming, a fellow content creator and YouTuber, and he's a big Strange player. We're going to talk about the evolution of Strange, how he was in the beta, how he is currently, and what we like to see in the future. Let's get into it. Please remember, I am still doing the giveaway for the robe. It will be on Friday. This is now Wednesday. So, in the comment section down below, put the number 1500 space what you liked or disliked about the video, and you'll get inserted into the giveaway. If you would like extra giveaways, put hashtag boycott MFR and any social media, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Find me on Discord, link down below, and send me a screenshot. Let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Kigerr here, and today I'm joined by a fellow content creator, LordsOfGaming. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Kigerr? How you doing?
I'm doing good. You've been gone for a minute.
Yeah, I've been doing some real life stuff that's been keeping me out of pocket, but I'm
Well,
back.
here, myself, CJ, and a couple others thought you quit, and we started up this boycott movement. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, so I think the boycotts it's well past due at this point for sure. I'm definitely on board for the boycott, and it's something that we definitely need a concerted community effort to. So I appreciate that you guys are like trying to bring more people in because we need a collective movement. It's not going to be successful if it's just straggling community content creators doing it.
So you're behind it?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. I didn't want to fill up a bunch of the video. I don't want to beat a dead horse. You guys see the logo on my in the corner there. Um, I'm going to go towards actual content stuff with the game because there's a lot of stuff I want to cover. But as long as that's there, I do support it. But I brought LordsOfGaming on because I looked at his channel. You guys know I like to promote some of the smaller channels, and I saw he's a Doctor Strange player. And I noticed I haven't done a detailed update with Strange. So LordsOfGaming is going to help me go through the evolution of Strange. Ready for that, man?
Yeah, let's get into this.
All right. So how was Strange during the beta for you?
I think Strange definitely felt like he fulfilled the role for me. I'm not a heavy PvP player, and in terms of what he was most useful for, even during beta, was PvE content. And I felt that he was probably definitely one of the most stronger PvE players, characters in the game. So I was loving him quite a bit. I'm a huge Doctor Strange fan. Like if you, I go back to the 1990s and reading
Mm.
Doctor Strange comics and the Midnight Suns, which there's
Yeah,
another
that
game
makes
coming
sense.
out for that one. And so, Strange was one of the first characters I drew with Mephisto. So I actually fell in love with the character that he was going to be introduced and want to hear he was the primary character. And I told people on my channel repeatedly, I will not switch from Doctor Strange unless Thor comes to the game.
Oh, there you go.
Then I got to roll out.
Well, I think a big reason why Strange was so good during the beta is just how his ultimate works. His ultimate
Yeah.
is a huge area of effect. It is monstrously huge.
Yeah.
And I've mentioned this before on my channel. Different ultimates scale you get gauge differently. His is by defeating enemies. So
Yep.
which game mode do you beat more enemies in? PvE.
Yep.
So as you're killing enemies, you're able to use your ultimate over and over. And the best thing is it fills itself because the ultimate kills 15 whatever little guys, and you get like half your bar back, right?
That's correct. I've brought this up before that Strange is comparatively the same as he is inside Marvel Future Fight in that, like you said, the way I build up my ultimate and get to it is I defeat characters, I rotate through skills, and the more I do this, the more my ultimate comes in there. Then I'm able to cast off that ultimate. It feels great. And during the beta, it felt great. Like it seemed like it was working. You cast that ultimate, had a wide range of effect, had great damage output on it, and you were able to like keep that ultimate kind of going all the time. Then the nerf
So
came.
after after launch came through, Strange felt roughly the same from beta. A lot of the newer players saw Seedon and a few others playing Strange,
Hmm.
and they wanted to try it out. They were really loving it. It was doing great, and I can't pinpoint exactly what happened, but I know some skills were messing up, things like that, and then a hashtag fix Strange started happening, right?
Yeah, so we basically once everybody started jumping inside of Omega War, you had two of Strange skills that basically ended up getting nerfed, and that was his Crimson Bands of Sidorak and his ultimate. Basically, his it was he was a powerhouse even inside PvP because of those two skills. Both of them had a wide range, so you could basically in conference maybe like 3 or 4 characters, especially if you're making a rush for that middle crystal, and then cast off his super, and it would just totally decimate the whole area. So everybody's like, "Fix Strange, he's broken, he's borking," and like for a time being, for the time being, he's broken. And then we got that nerf, and now I don't know where we are necessarily with Strange after that point, but I was still enjoying him still because in a PVE perspective, he was still doing what he needed to do
And
within the content.
in response to the fixed range movement, which is very different than our current boycott movement. Um,
Yeah.
our boycott movement, we made sure to lay a groundwork of what exactly we're wanting. All
Hmm.
I've mainly ever seen from the fixed range movement is fixed range, not
Hmm.
exactly saying what it is. So I feel as though if you guys cleaned that up a bit, probably could have got a little bit better than what we currently have.
Yeah, and I remember me and I did a couple of videos in the channel playlist. People can go back and look at those, and I did a couple of videos even with some other content creators at the time, specifically like Godslave was one of those. I know he's part of the boycott movement, and I did it with Busy as well, where we kind of broke down the things that innately needed to be fixed for Strange. It just seemed like those things, I'm a small content creator, so I wasn't, it's not going to be like everything I say is going to be heard, or, I'm definitely not on their Discord because I think I'd be more angry if I was on their Discord channel. But we've always had an idea of what was wrong with Doctor Strange. Besides his ultimate getting nerfed and his Crimson Bands of Sidorak being nerfed, we always kind of knew that, a couple of things, mainly his skill animations, mainly his ability to break through guard breaks, especially with such low guard break skills, those things needed to be fixed
Well, let's see.
individually on the skills. Yeah.
Well, let's see. On 1/12 on a Wednesday,
Hmm.
they put out a huge update doing changes to all characters.
Yeah.
They did a I think it went out in October, maybe even November. They put out the
Hmm.
questionnaire, and they went over those, made some big changes across, sweeping changes across the board.
Yeah.
This is people may remember this is when Spider-Man and Captain Marvel got their hammers,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
then, like I said, we're focusing on Strange. So
Hmm.
we're going to talk over the Strange changes.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange power will be strengthened to further highlight the Sorcerer's supremacy. He will destroy the enemy's guard to keep them at his mercy and show off his outstanding skills and battle using deadly attacks. Alright,
Yeah.
let's check out the changes. Seven Rings of Ragador, they changed all versions of the skill from lowest to low, and Magic Explosion version from low to medium. All of them they bumped up by one. Lord, you were talking about this made it look like more than what they did.
Yeah, it essentially when we looked at the skills, like you're pretty good at the coding stuff and understanding how that works. And like you said, they basically had to do a blanket overall for the one skill. But the problem was is that if you looked at the skill on face value, Starve Shackles, Chain Reaction, and Magic Explosion were not
They're
being
all
utilized.
seven rings of Ragador.
They're all seven rings of Ragador, but only one of the seven rings of Ragador skill was being used, and that was Ring of Repulsion. Even to
Mm-hmm.
this day, nobody dips into the other three skills. Starve Shackles and Chain Reaction and Magic Explosion. Who's using those? Magic Explosion was probably being used mostly for AFK grinding. If you remember when we were doing AFK grinding, that was probably being used for that at most. Starve Shackles and Chain Reaction, I don't think anybody's ever used that. And to say that you went from lowest to low wasn't necessarily enabling Doctor Strange to break any guards.
Yeah, so if anyone doesn't know what these low, lowest, medium stuff like that means, effectively it has its base percentages. Lowest is 1%, low is 2%, medium's 3%, high is 4, highest is 5. You innately are doing that much percent guard damage to your opponent, then your guard, whatever bonus guard damage you have is a multiplier on top of that. So 1% to 2% doesn't sound like a lot, but it technically is. But I mean, when they're all 2%, you're not really accomplishing the 100% anytime soon.
Right.
You're killing the opponent way before you ever break.
Right.
Vishanti Sacred Sword, faster casting time. I don't.
So
I saw this animation literally one time.
Yeah, I think we all saw Vishanti's Sacred Sword and we were like,
it's cool. It's
cool.
Dope as fuck when he uses it.
But ain't nobody using it though, because you literally, it was one of those skills that you knew was a specialized instance, right? You literally had to have a target that was dumb enough to sit in front of you and just stay there and didn't have a dodge up. And then you went through this whole casting animation that you're hoping they didn't read. They couldn't understand that you were casting the skill.
Now,
and even still,
the big one right here, Bladed Defense. How do you feel about that change?
So Bladed Defense was broken inside this instant because nobody was going to use the skill. At least at this point, nobody was going to use the skill. You put up Bladed Defense and you literally relied on somebody being stupid enough to come to you while you have that skill up in order to basically, you would get the decreased damage received, but that was it. That was all you got from it, was a decreased damage received, because you wasn't doing any damage to anybody else, because who was coming around you while they could see this blade spinning around you? Nobody was coming to you.
And then we started figuring out combos with it.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like, nah, it was definitely one of the things that I definitely put down there.
Now, what about Gate of the Edge? 50% more cooldown for 50% more damage. Very similar to his specialization that gives damage for cooldown.
And unfortunately, again, one of those skills that just fit into that very specialized grouping where it was, I think even recently we had somebody do a skill build for Doctor Strange, and it works for Loki because Loki just kind of stands in one spot all the time. But you have a skill here that relies on a character standing in that one spot and being able to use it to be able to hit them with this skill. It just didn't pan out in the way that you would really hope it would pan out. It looks on paper like a really great skill, for Doctor Strange, but then it just doesn't. It's
like
pan
a truck,
out.
But you have to hit it.
Yeah, exactly. You don't hit it. Like I tried to use this skill in the recent invasion against Magneto, because he's kind of one of those dumb kind of characters like Loki too, where he just stands in place, and it does hit him like a truck, but we're not trying to hit him like a truck. We're trying to guard break him, so it becomes one of those skills where you're like, yeah, okay.
Now, time manipulation force field. This is the cooldown on when you use illusion skills, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually. It sucks. 8 seconds is not what it should be. But what I told you, the build I was telling you about before, I'm glad it has some cooldown.
Yeah, it's to be honest with you, I was using I got that skill immediately to max because I really was loving, like I told you, I actually love the illusion magic class skills. They feel a lot of fun to play. They're just not very impactful in a lot of areas of the game that you want to excel. Yeah, you just hit like a noodle, but they're really fun looking skills. They're really fun to play with, especially that whole the skill cooldown of it was really good. And I really enjoyed the this time manipulation force field. I went into this heavy. This was one of the first skills I went into deep, and I got my 10 out of 10 on this skill for this specialization first up. So I really like that change. There was no cooldown before, which means that you could literally hit like 1 second cooldowns and have your skills back up. And then they put the 8 second cooldown on it, and you're like,
8 is way too much.
it was way too much because now it was like, well, I'm never getting to use this damn thing.
They
So
could make
it's
it
like,
like a 5, and I think I'd be happy.
yeah, five wouldn't be bad because I would want to see it basically like so that way I think 8 kind of puts it out of the range where you could cast your skills on rotation like maybe get through 2 rotations, but then the 8 seconds kind of limits you. So if they put it down to like 5, I feel like that would be the smooth middle ground for it.
Now, I actually want to talk about the cooldown into crit rate before we talk about the other one.
Hmm.
I like this one
No, that was a good one. It was a
because
good one.
you can get cooldown from the cards from your exclusive stat on Strange. You can't get crit rate anywhere on Strange.
Yeah, and so it was a really weird one because the cooldown was really easy to hit on Doctor Strange. You just had to invest in it. Like I did with all my cards, every single card that I had, I went for cooldown decrease. Especially after the ultimate nerf, there was no real reason to go into ultimate gauge recovery. So you basically ended up with one stat on the card that you needed to go for, and that was cooldown decrease. It worked out perfectly that they put crit rate there instead of cooldown inside your enhanced potential. I think the weird part became when they added the fifth row of potential.
Mm-hmm.
Then you were like, well, you kind of could have just left cooldown there and put crit rate in another part, but they didn't.
Now, this one, I hear both sides of the argument. Some people wanted status effect accuracy to stay. Some people want the crit damage.
Hmm.
Where do you fall?
I fall on the crit damage side, and I'll give you the reason why. In one of my videos where I talked about this specifically, we literally talk about Doctor Strange's status effect accuracy skill.
Mm-hmm.
And we say that especially prior to this update, a lot of Doctor Strange's skills relied upon you getting through the guard break first
Mm-hmm.
in order to apply them. Doctor Strange doesn't have as many status effect accuracy skills as people seem to assume that he does.
All it
He
really
just
is the what's it called? The confusion, really.
That's exactly. Thank you. That's pretty much all he has. Now
If you
you could
guys
look
don't
at.
know I'm sorry. Anyone that doesn't know what it is, I do have a video. I will link it down below. A list of type of things that status effect accuracy goes towards and doesn't go towards. The real quick and easy is if it's any kind of movement type skill, pushback, knockdown, things like that, they have to be guard broken unless the
Mhm.
skill specifically says cannot guard. If it's any kind of blind, burn, what have you, status effect.
Right. And so I think a lot of people confused it because they were looking at Doctor Strange's skills, especially some of his illusion ones where they had like snare on it or pushback and knockback, and they were assuming that those were status effect accuracy. And you're like, no. He basically had like, dimensional collapse, glare of confusion, avenging illusions, and antimatter sword. And you're like, that's pretty much all he had. Like, I mean, so having the status effect to me didn't really matter as much as having the critical damage. So I enjoyed having the critical damage because that helped me hit that crit damage max a lot heavier.
And 2 weeks later, Baron Mordo.
He became a default. You're playing a Doctor Strange, you better have Baron Mordo. Like essentially, that's basically what it panned out to, right? And I guess I felt two kind of ways about that. One as a player, I didn't feel like we needed to have companions that were rounding out the foundation of what characters were supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. And then I also had a negative feeling about it because it was another way to sell this character inside the shop. They didn't do what they did for Thor and Hulk. They basically threw him inside the shop, and as a Doctor Strange, you basically needed to have that character.
What I find interesting is that his bonus effects for 5-star and 6-star are HP and defense, which
Hmm.
are the stats they've kind of put on Strange, as
Hmm.
well as stats that Magic wants.
Yep.
So Mordo seems more leaned towards Magic, but definitely
Hmm.
a bonus for Strange to have around.
Yeah, because I mean, by the nature that he was just going to get, like, me and you talked about this, right? Is that Magic has and I know we're going to get into that, but Magic has a very good kit in terms of her ultimate skill gauge. Doctor Strange doesn't. So you're not really getting any of the effect of his ultimate skill gauge coming back because you don't really care about casting it. But having those defense HP effects as well, like Magic benefits from the defense and HP. Strange doesn't.
Hmm.
So you essentially needed him for the attack boost and the cooldown decrease that he provided for Strange, but he was definitely way more beneficial for Magic than Strange. So I agree with you 100% there.
I
The
think
XP gain,
Strange. I think Strange would have liked the increased attack, and then the multiple magic missiles.
yeah, I think that would have been far better for him to have, is the ability for him to cast that multiple magic missiles on it as well.
Which this is the thing. The if another hero multiple. I like that because that was an issue with Donna ports.
Yeah,
Donna gives type damage bonus, which most characters have bleed, burn, whatever. At least something they can do, so it increases most characters. But if you look at Captain Marvel, who doesn't have any type damage skills, you roll that as your 3-star. What do?
yeah,
You just can't do anything with the Donna ports. That's why I am okay with character specific specials as long as all characters can use them in some way.
right. And I mean, he still, that's the great part about what they did with Ordo, is that 1100% damage that he was doing, if he while he was following around, that
Mm-hmm.
was viable because he was actually attacking targets, like, and he attacks targets pretty well when you apply that to him. And 1100% damage, that's a lot in terms of what this game is giving you out. I mean, some of Doctor Strange's skills are at that cusp. So yeah, I agree with you on that one.
Then they take their little vacation thing, and then 5 weeks later, we have balance. Oh, this is Captain America. Do Doctor Strange balance adjustments? Walk us through them.
Yeah, so let's just address the fact before we get into that after that balance adjustment that previously happened, a lot of players basically looked at as the nerf, overall nerf update that basically put Star-Lord aligned with everybody. So that's the dog walk into Astral Projection Soul Predator by giving you that added 15% increase.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, when everybody basically got the nerf, so Star-Lord got the buff, we basically got the same thing for Doctor Strange inside his Soul Predator. Um, which it wasn't bad in necessity because Soul Predator by and large became a staple one slot skill for everybody that was playing Strange, right? You weren't using defense pierce unless you were in PvP for the what you call, and that was even situational. And then you're running into Avenging Illusion, which increased the area of provoke. Problem being, a lot of people weren't using Avenging Illusion. Just not that it was necessarily a bad skill, but cooldown time on that
Now they are
already
with
was just,
Hulk.
yeah, with Hulk, right? Everybody's freaking provoking, and everybody the Hulk has changed the landscape of the game. Let's be honest about that. That companion has single handedly changed the landscape of the game.
He's Hulk is fine. I can play around a Hulk, no issues. It's when there's a Hulk and another thing. So
Yeah,
Hulk and Avenging Illusion, Hulk and Spider-Man Projection. That's when I have
yeah.
issues.
He man, I can't tell you how many people are literally screaming inside Omega War, I'm tired of fighting Hulk. I'm tired of fighting, even in dimension duels. If you don't have a Hulk at this point to aggro your enemy, you can almost guarantee you're gonna lose. Like, inside dimension duels is almost damn near a guarantee. Especially, like, yeah, Avenging Illusion has become a perfect setup if you're tagging in Hulk and you're playing inside PvP.
Hmm.
Bladed Defense. I'm still in the same place as I was previously. It's one of those skills that I feel like, it has its place. Um, I
Well,
just don't have a
that
place for it
change
in my
right there is
rotation.
important. Uh,
Yeah, the change was important. The change was.
you can cast this while you're moving during astral projection.
Yeah, it was definitely 100% important to the skill. It's hard to justify me putting that in my rotation of my skills. That's the big thing.
Now, all four of these skills, the numbers they gave us was 135%. You want to tell us why 135% is only 35%?
Well, I can't tell you that. You'd be better at that one than me. I'll
So
tell you.
100% is the base number.
Yeah,
So if you increase it by that, then you're not increasing anything.
yeah,
Uh, 1 times 100 is 1.
one.
So 135% is their way of making it sound like a lot, but increasing it by 35%.
And the sad part about it is I think anybody really looking at the skills now, like I think for some reason they had that 135, like you said, to make it seem like it was way higher than what it was. But here goes the truth of the matter. Like when we watched the video play of Alice Pac and Danny doing these skills, some of these skills looked a lot faster
Before
than
or
what
after
we
she
got.
took a massive rip?
Good one, good one.
Just the whole
But
stream.
Jesus, yeah. But yeah, she when they were doing it, I was looking at the skills and I was counting down the seconds on
Her
those
ring
skills when she was
repulsion
doing it.
was like instant in that video.
Exactly. It was almost like, yeah, it was like button press and cast out there. Even the ultimate skill had maybe like, I counted a 2 second animation on it. I don't feel like any of the skills got implemented in that way. So I don't know if things got broken the way Soul Predator got broken, but
It
it
was
doesn't
very
feel that
strange.
fast.
I believe the reason that is because they were playing it off of a video, not from live gameplay.
Yeah.
They have their they proved to us that they have a back end model that they play on,
Hmm.
but I would have much rather them show us it themselves. Like grab the controller, grab your phone, tablet, whatever,
Hmm.
move it and do it in front of us instead of playing on a video. On a video, you can change it, you can amplify it, you can give it the 1.25 speed, you can
Yeah.
all kinds of manipulation can happen. So when they do a press play on something, I'm less likely to believe that than them physically pressing the button.
I agree with you because I, you can definitely tell there was an increase in some of the animations, but not for what we looked like on the thing. Because I don't I feel like that increased speed time wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough.
Now the big ones, the specialization changes.
Yeah, yeah. How do you feel about these specializations? Like for real?
Uh, so white magic aether, I like specifically for what I said. I think that Strange is built to be a support unit, and I
Hmm.
think white magic aether goes directly into that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you on that one at all. I fully
Especially
fully
right
agree
now
with
with
you on that one,
Magneto,
Cap.
right? Like, if you hit White Magic Aether and a Scrag, you can just cut
Yeah,
through.
he's really good. So I think this is the one good thing, like you said, is that they put this skill in here. Captain America obviously got his buffs, and adding a skill like White Magic Ether inside there, so that way you can attack a character like Magneto, who's a sitting target. Essentially, he's like I said to you off. He's basically just standing there. He's not doing anything necessarily at all in terms of character model. This is good. It's a good skill. My interest inside this skill is how's it gonna pan out in other areas besides this invasion. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about when attacking a target, a debuff the target. We
Mm-hmm.
additionally increase the guard damage recovery and reduce the guard recovery time.
The issue is
So
you
this
don't
is
have debuffs, really. That's
thank you.
why that's why I'm saying he's a support unit. So
Yeah.
Iron Man drops his precision bombing; they're burned. You hit them with the super far range highest guard break skill from the
Hmm.
back. You hit them. You're the artillery fire. You hit them with that. Then you go on to the next target.
Yep.
You let that Iron Man continue to fight that guy. Then they take the guard damage, and then once their guard is broken from, let's say, Spider-Man is better than Iron Man in this example. Spider-Man gets the web on them. You hit them from afar and then go off and do your thing.
Yep.
Spider-Man guard breaks them, and then they have to wait 30% longer to recover from
Hmm.
that guard.
Yep.
That's just what that is meant to be there for. It's supposed to be an Omega War type skill, but
Yep.
I agree with you that people are usually dying before it matters.
Then that's the issue, is that like I think this skill is going to shine inside Invasion, and it's going to become another spotlight skill for Doctor Strange, that people go, where's the usability for this skill later on? Because I've kept this skill equipped. I don't really switch out my specializations as much, like in terms of, I'm kind of lazy in that regard. But like I can see the skill being useful inside raid. I can see this, but I think we kind of pop shot raid now at this point. So it's kind of like before I even see the skill put in place, it just is. Now, the really cool part about it to me is that, like you said, when you lead into Dark Magic Ideal Destroyer, this basically became a reason that I didn't have to run a skill like Time Manipulation, Waves of Despair, because with the decrease from the Dark Magic Ideal Destroyer having the skill cooldown of 10%, playing around with the cooldown decrease numbers were a little bit easier to just say, I'm just going to leave White Magic Ether on and just play around and see exactly how much effective it is. So I agree with you. I liked White Magic Ether. It's a really good update for him. Just how much of an impact it has long term is
Now, the terrible one here, and the elephant in the
yeah.
room, is Shifting Sands. People have the issue where they don't see the dimensional fragment.
Yep.
I don't know if that's a bug or if you're not supposed to see it and just know when you hit them with 5 things it happens. Have you seen the icon at all?
I haven't seen him.
Okay.
So,
I think it just ticks, and then when you
yeah.
get there, it does it. Now, in the stream, after she took her rip, she told us that Shifting Sands was supposed to make all of our dark magic skills ignore guard, which is
Yep.
exactly what people wanted, right?
And it sounded great.
It sounded perfect. If that's what it was, yes, 100% put me on board. But how it works is you hit them with 5 Mystic Art skills, which they're dead on the 4th one, so, bring them back up and hit them with the 5th one. Then they're ignoring guard, banish them for 2 seconds.
Yep.
Which I haven't actually seen it happen. I don't know what happens in the game when that happens, like what it looks like.
From what it looked like when I slowed down their video, it looked like it was supposed to, summon like a dimensional collapse, looking like the mirror dimension kind of thing.
When
But
you do that, it does. When you actually use the skill on a group of mobs, they just stop.
yeah, that's it. But it's not, like you just said. I hit you with the 3 or 4 Mystic Art class skill 3 or 4 times, you're dead. So I never really get to see you. And then when I do see it happen, I'm like, it was only for a second. Like it almost becomes like a glitch in the system happen, like the glitch in the Matrix happened. I saw the cat walk by and then walk by again. I'm like,
so we give them what they deserve. White Magic Aether, on point, Ideal Destroyer, leaning in the right direction. Shifting Sands, if it did what they told us to, I don't think we'd have anyone complaining about Strange right now.
no, if it worked the way they said it worked, I mean, I would like to see the mirror dimension, happen for longer than 2 seconds, even if that's at like 3 seconds or something like that you can up it up.
Ignore the fragment.
Yeah.
Make the fragment go away and give us Mystic Art skills don't need guard break.
Yeah, that's what it should be. And I think that they should go back and rework that in there, because I think that would lean Doctor Strange into
when
being.
They said that was hype. People were talking about it.
I was hype as hell about it, because I was like, oh, cool, we're going to end up with a Doctor Strange who has usability in multiple modes, because he's not going to just simply be relegated to.
Because imagine in Dimension Duel, you start Dimension Duel, you have that skill where you do the pull your arms back and then shoot the wave at your opponent, which has a snare chance. Imagine if it snared at the beginning of a Dimension Duel. And then you get time to do your buff, throw down a Mordo, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah, but unfortunately, and you know what? The sucky part about it is this is one of those net marble par for the courses. I'm going to tell you I'm going to give you something, and I give you less, and I'm going to expect you to be happy.
You're dealing with a genie.
So, yeah, exactly.
You got to word it very specifically.
Yeah.
So the both number 3 and number 4 I want to talk about. Number 3, Provoke. Before this update, Provoke, some skills were still able to be used, as well as the dodge. After this update, you're no longer able to dodge or use those said skills during
Yep.
provoke, which is a buff to Strange with
Hmm.
the provoke type skill, as well as
Hmm.
Hulk or whatever.
Yep.
Uh, the last one. This is the thing that they didn't tell us. Well, see here's number 5, crit damage decrease. People said that we weren't told. I just see it right here. 100% cap for crit damage decrease. Now it's 200%. That's whatever. Forget about that.
Yeah.
PvP balance adjustment. This is the only thing on here that doesn't tell us any kind of numbers, and they didn't touch at all on the thing. All they told us was what's written right here, that they want to stop one shots.
Yeah.
Have you noticed
I don't,
any difference?
so to be honest with you, no. Like, I mean, I go inside, I go inside dimension duels, and players that I'm expecting to one shot, I still one shot. And, players that I expect to one shot me are still one shotting me.
Well,
So
Strange is one-shotting, so we can't buff him now.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's true. So I don't know. And I wonder how much of this is a translation issue, because you've probably looked at their website and it's all
Hmm.
jacked to hell with, language being there. We don't have, it's not an English
If we
version of
look
there or
right
whatever. But
here, it goes the two types of. I might want to. I know one's kanji. I don't know which, and I know one's a different one. And then
yeah.
us.
So it's weird, because I wonder sometimes how much of that stuff is bored down to is a translation issue versus just them being that marble. It's
Well,
so weird when I look at the overall progression of Strange from where he was when we started with him in the beta to where we currently are. It goes back to what I said to you, right? Is that I feel like you have a team that doesn't really understand what is needed to make a character work with inside the game modes they've developed. And we're playing it and trying to fix it on the fly. And it does seem like we're in beta mode where they're asking us to global lab test their changes and edits. And Strange is like, I see you got this one highlighted, so I'll let you talk to this because it'll lead right into my point.
this isn't out yet. This is coming out on Thursday morning.
Hmm.
They're going over a bunch of bugs and issues in the game. Uh, they're giving us stuff, letting us changing like Black Widow's double shots sometimes weren't the second shot wasn't hitting. So
Hmm.
there's that. But the one for Strange is Soul Predator, which is currently not giving stamina recovery. They're giving it back to us. So yay!
Yep. It's which is weird. So I'll give you a synopsis. Like, me and Busy is going over this a little bit. Stamina recovery is just kind of weird inside the game for Doctor Strange, because like I've been able to hit as much as I haven't been able to max cap stamina. I've been able to, like, a stamina recovery. I've been able to get it to about 170% is the max that I can get it at right now with my builds. And you still kind of get limited by the skills that you're using in terms of pushing through other skills, where I might be able to get one or two skill rotations off for Doctor Strange before I have to pull out and then re-engage. And so having the stamina recovery on astral projection, you pace it, or Soul Predator, you pretty much limited down his ways to regain Soul Predator. I was
Mm-hmm.
wondering what the hell was going on, because I was literally playing out, the invasion, and I'm like, why am I not able to cast my skills? There's a lot of downtime happening here. And then they put out this statement and go, yeah, stamina recovery effect wasn't working. And I'm like, so I've been playing with a
So
dead skill throughout the whole invasion.
yep. So we have Days of Futures Past. We have the present, and now let's talk about the future. What do we want to see with Strange?
Hmm.
Something I put forward that you seem to like was when Magic came out. She has her two gauge ultimate system, and something that confused me is you can use her ultimate when it's at half, but you can also use it when it's at full. And the
Yeah.
only difference between half and full is how long you stay in the ultimate. I
Yeah.
thought that was a little strange. With Widow,
Yeah.
Widow has 3 bars. And her thing is you can use each one individually. I get that. What I want is all of our abilities have 4 different options, right? I want them to give us 3 options with the ultimate. We don't change it on the fly. We don't change it before the game mode, what have you. It's our ultimate. It stays there as it is right now. What I want is I want everyone to be like that widow bar, 1, 2, 3, and I want the specializations. If you look at any character specializations, all 3 lean towards one of the 3 skill categories. So with Strange, you got Vishanti, Illusion, and Dark Magic. You have the 3 different types of skills, and you have 3 different types of specializations that dig into those 3 different types of skills. Why don't we have 3 different ultimates that go towards those 3 different types of skills? So, you can use it whenever you're at in the bar, but that chooses which one you use. If you're only at 1 bar, you use the 1 bar version of your ultimate. If you're at 2 bars, you don't get 2 versions of the 1 bar, you get the second bar. And then if you make it all the way to the third one, you get the 3rd bar ultimate skill. What do you think about that?
Yeah. And so, like, I think me and you were specifically talking about it in terms of addressing how Strange had it. And just so you guys know, this is Kiger's things that he said is basically at the 1 bar for Strange, we would get like the confusion. At the 2 bar, we would get something like the Avenging Illusions or the Illusions of Icon. And at the 3 bar, we would get the Mystic Arts kind of class skill that he has now, where it's the ultimate that he currently has, maybe with an invulnerability on it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that this is exactly the kind of change that we need in the game overall. And it's a good point that Kigerr brings up, especially inside the boycott, because you do have to tell the developers what it is that you want, and instead of just giving them a complaint. And the really great thing about a solution like you're talking about is that ultimates in this game, other than for characters like Captain Marvel and Magic, don't feel like ultimates. And this would give a character, especially like Doctor Strange, who's so classed into his ultimate gauge recovery and his cooldown, a reason to build towards his ultimate gauge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this would be amazing.
It goes towards all characters. It goes towards all characters because,
yeah,
you can have the 1, 2, or 3. Obviously, for all characters, most developers can't do it right, and then 1 will obviously be better. In some game modes, people will be spamming the 1 bar, and some they'll wait for the 2 bar because it's good, mm-hmm. and then you'll rarely see 3 bars. But that's just how I see it implementing, and then changes down the line go forward. But I like to look at it from all ways, but this also adds in the PvP game modes, which is the current end game of the game, until they add the big bosses that they told us are coming, is in PvP or PvE. This adds skill. Mm-hmm. So if let's say Widow 1 bar, leave it as is. Widow 2 bar, you dash through them as like a premature invulnerability, and then it is like astral projection, right? You go through them and they take increased damage, leaning into that assassin class. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the 3 is just a big nuke.
So I think that the really cool thing about what you're saying too is the one thing that they did show in this previous update, and I gave it to them as a good, is they at least showed the willingness to go in there and do some major updates. Like the updates that happened to Doctor Strange and Captain America, they weren't just, like you said to me previous, they weren't numbers updates. They weren't just simply numbers updates. They went in and reworked skills and changed animations and changed times and gave new ones. And so this would be great, like if they did something like this and were willing to take the time to give characters that, because I think we as players, it would give us a lot of reason to be like, enthusiastic. Like you said, a lot of us Strange players were enthusiastic about what Alice Pac had said that, that specialization was supposed to do. So even if you just gave us some of those changes like what you're putting forth, I think a lot of us would be excited about them, just because it would lend more to that theory crafting, to that skill-based play, instead of just an auto-played character that's going in and just doing whatever. Because nobody's going to want to put their ultimate on autoplay when you go, I really want to get to that second skill and I'm inside Alliance and Mega War. I really want to get to that third skill. Nobody's, you're more likely to play with that character because now I'm choosing what needs to happen. I really like what you had to offer there because that's a solution that I think a lot of players would get behind and be excited about.
Agreed. I think our talk, we rambled a little bit, but I think we went over a lot of information. Like I said, this is the timeline of Strange, past, present, and hopefully future. But Lords of Gaming, tell people where they can find you and what they can expect.
Hey guys, find me over at Lords of Gaming on YouTube. Really easy to find. Don't mind me if I'm the angry person sitting over there talking about MFR. Thank you, Kigerr, for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Look for more stuff in the future. Like I said on my channel, I'm not going away from MFR. Might have to take some breaks here and there, but I'm loving it. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Till next time.
Are you interested in buying yourself some Marvel merch? Some amazing hoodies with your favorite character on it, like Spider-Man, Loki, and Venom. Go click the link in my description box now and get some awesome discounts from 20% up to 60% off. They offer you free worldwide shipping on orders over $39.90. So, what are you waiting for? Link in the description.